Yo, what up, my dudes? Today we are going over our first actual coaching lesson. This is about performance, and this has to do with stats. And this is something that I'm telling you, it speaks volumes. So, what we're looking at, this is the Destiny 2 stat page. This is the page you go to when you're trying to check out what you've been doing. And I thought this was really cool. Check it out. It actually shows you what the meta is right now. So for primary weapons, Gnawing Hunger, obviously, and then Dire Promise, and then snipers, of course, right now are kind of a big deal. The guys that I want to go over right there, I'm just going to click on one of them so you guys can see. This guy's amazing. His stats are really high up there. He's top 500 for most things, or he's in Diamond 1, 2, and 3. So he plays a lot. He dedicates a lot of time to this game, and the stuff that he does is pretty amazing. Right there, what you're looking at is called detailed. Now that's what I'm going to go into. What this tells me is what your preferences are. Now the reason I always go into this is because if we're assessing for strength and for weakness, we have to get an idea of a few things. One, your kill-death ratio. That one right there at the bottom, objectives completed. If, for example, you were losing a lot of matches back-to-back, that's one of the first things I would check. Are you playing the objective or are you playing the opponent? I do understand that there are different play styles. Right here, weapon class specific. Check it out. So this guy is a heavy fusion rifle user. That should tell you something, as well as super kills. Those two things right there, that tells me he relies a lot on getting secondary ammo for his fusion rifle, as well as a high intellect on his character. Now, I believe his main character is a Titan, which also says that he's probably trying to get close to you. Right here, this dude, this is an opposite PvP player. This guy plays his game a little bit differently, as you can tell. He is also top 500 in most things, or high diamond level, high diamond league, which is really, really cool. Now, when you go over to his detailed stat option, the thing I'm looking for, again, is for preferences. I'm looking for things that might establish a pattern. This guy, same or at least similar, but look at the differences between objective completed. So we're looking at someone that would classify as a slayer, not someone that is objectively based. Whereas the other guy that had 70,000 completed, this guy only has 20 to 30. That would be a weakness in my opinion. He needs to play the objective more. Even though he's top 500, don't get me wrong, he probably has his place as a slayer. I think he could benefit from playing the objective more. Fusion kills again, and super kills. So, fusion rifle, as well as high intellect stat. You're seeing a pattern already about what the meta is, despite what they said the PvP meta was with the auto rifle and the sniper. These guys are proving that wrong. So in an effort to be transparent, here are my stats. I don't play as often as these guys do. I don't play on a team. I'm a solo player. But that should give you an indication of what it is that I do and what my patterns and my preferences are when I play the game of Destiny. You're going to see very clearly what my preferences are in a minute. So recent matches, you can see I play Iron Baron. I played a little bit this week. I have a lot of wins on there and a couple of losses, and that's not bad as a solo player. The thing that I look for besides kill-death ratio, objective being played. But I also just play Hunter, so there's a preference there for mobility. We'll go over the differences in class by the end of this. So what we're looking at when it comes down to my actual stats, you can see the kill-death ratio. You can also see objectives played. For a part-time solo player, I do play the objective a lot. I've had some decent runs. My best weapon is a pulse rifle. I like the Bygones. That's my dad rifle, and I stand by it. Now, down a little bit more, what you're going to see besides, I know I'm circling the objective there. I just wanted to emphasize that a little bit. So pulse and auto and scout. I'm a primary weapon player, as you can tell, which means I probably need to work a little bit on my secondary skill. I prefer fusion rifle as my secondary, but what about shotgun? What about sniper? Where are those things at? They're closer to the bottom of the list. That right there means I probably need to work on more skillful behavior, more getting headshots or staying in the back of the map, as opposed to staying mid-range with pulse and then panic shooting with a quick backup fusion rifle, which is exactly what I do. So I hope this is a good indication of some of the patterns between those top-level players and myself, who's just average solo. So if you get a look at class preference, you'll see that someone that is a Titan, a lot of the times what they're going for is strength and resilience. You know, that whole one punch you in the face kind of thing. Hunters get a little bit jealous of that. So if you're going for Hunter class, a lot of the times you're going for mobility. That's built into the class. So you want to be able to be nimble. You want to be able to dodge in and out of situations. A lot of the times you also want to be able to shotgun or get close, but also get out of the way. So I like Hunter because I felt it was the most dynamic for me. I like moving around really quick. That's just my preference. So that could easily be taken advantage of by a Titan that understands my preference and gets in there and one punches or shotguns me. Now, I do understand a lot of people are really good with Hunter and shotgunning, but I'm not one of those guys. I just use it to get out of situations, almost like a scout. With Warlocks, I understand the Warlock is supposed to be recovery-based. They have that top tree Dawn Blade, which is just a powerhouse in PvP if you understand how to use it the right way. Man, you rain down death from above. That's pretty cool. There's nothing anybody can do. So I feel like that has a really good game to it that when I see it in PvP, I'm always like, oh, I hope this guy's still learning, because if he knows what he's doing, I'm in trouble. Yeah, that's the class preferences. When you look at the gun preferences, you'll get an example or an idea of where somebody prefers to hang out when they have their engagements. So if you have an auto rifle, if you have a scout rifle, if you have a pulse rifle, for example, which is one of my favorites, the bygones, I prefer my engagements to be mid-range because I have time to react, I have time to get away, or I have time to move forward depending on where you are. Auto rifles give you that depending on how well you are with them. Scout rifles, you're just kind of hanging out and pinging people, but then you got those scout rifles, dealing with snipers and stuff like that. Those guys can be a problem, especially if they're good. But if you're a good enough scout, then you can knock them off their aim and you could really mess their day up. So all of these are just, again, they show preference. They give you an idea of what your strengths are, or not even what your strength is, but what your comfort level is. So if you are comfortable at that mid to long range engagement, then pulse rifles, some auto rifles, those are going to be your bread and butter. But remember that somebody that is good to recognize what that is going to pick up on your gameplay preferences, and they're going to know what the patterns are. They're going to understand that there's a spot on the map that this guy probably likes to hang out in, and they're going to close the gap and they're going to punish you for that preference. That's why we do these assessments. So you get an idea of how you can play, so you get an idea of how you can play better against your opponent that is most likely to know these things as well. Anyway, guys, that's my gameplay tips, and that's my coaching for lesson 1 when it comes to performance, reading your stats, what do they mean, and what preferences and even biases that it shows about you when you are playing the game. This is so that you can establish strength and weaknesses for yourself, so you can work on the other things in the game that if you have someone that is good at adapting to your playstyle, you may have to change what you're doing and hopefully do better than they do at whatever playstyle they've chosen to try to compete with you with. That's the goal, to get better. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay footage. Have a good one. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm supposed to say that at the end of my videos. Okay, bye.